Hello and welcome back. My name is Alyssa and this is Into the Heartwild. And today I am going to be bringing you guys a spoiler-free review of Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. So first, let's take a look. This is the Goldsboro edition. It's beautiful. They didn't do anything underneath it. I don't think they did. No, they didn't. But those sprayed edges are very pretty. Very pretty. I'm just thinking about how the feathers correlate to the story now. I'm like, wait, why feathers? I think I understand. To start off, I'll give you guys a quick little synopsis of the story. Ordinary Monsters follows two little boys named Charlie and Marlowe. It is set in the year 1882 in Edinburgh, London. Both of these boys have this very mysterious gifts that allow them to kind of do things that the normal human cannot, and they are both on the run from a man made of smoke. That is the main gist of the story. That is pretty much the main aspect that you deal with throughout the entire story. There are other elements that are tackled and, you know, brought to the surface and such, but the main portion of the story is about these two kids and their journey of escaping the man of smoke. Now, one of the biggest things that I noticed when I was initially looking into this, because I got this through Goldsboro, it was one of their book of the months for the GSFF, so it's not something I picked up on my own. You know, it was just that's how I ended up with it. And late last month, I was looking at my bookshelves and my brain was like, we want to read Ordinary Monsters. Okay, so I went and I looked up a couple of sometimes when I go to start a book, especially one where I know absolutely nothing about it, which is like 99% of the books I own, and I go and I look up, you know, some opinions that people have. I try to look for the very vague reviews to get like a general idea of like maybe where I will fall. I don't do this for all the books, but because this one was a chonker, I was like, let me go and kind of look that up. So when I did, one of the common complaints that I saw about this book was length and pacing. Now, this is a very slow pacing. There's no getting around that. It is a slow-paced story. And for me, that worked fabulously. I am not a fan of slow-paced stories, to be quite honest, so the fact that I really loved the pacing of this particular book, to me, goes to show how well the material that was being written about was keeping me engaged. At a slow pace, I was engaged the entire time. Now, I will say I was listening to the audiobook, which I do think helped keep my engagement level up, because the narrator has the most fantastic voice in the world. You know, it's one of those deep, gruff men voices. I'm here for it. So I do give a lot of credit to the audiobook for keeping me entertained. I will say, as a warning, if you do pick up this book and you do pick up the audiobook, for whatever reason, they did not record the epilogue. So the way the book ends, it's fine, but when you read the epilogue, it kind of gives just a little bit more, and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm ready for the next one. At least for me it did. When I read that epilogue, I was like, yeah, where's the next one? 2024? Wonderful. I was a little bummed when I found that out, though. Do keep that in mind. For whatever reason, the audiobook did not record the epilogue. That said, the story itself, like I said, it's a very slow pace, but I think it's a pace that works perfectly for it, for the material that it's talking about, because each chapter, there's not a lot of chapters in it for it being like big and chunky. There's 40 chapters, counting the epilogue, 41. But each chapter is very long, and I saw in another review someone had said that each chapter felt like an episode of like a TV show. And I have to agree with that analysis, because it really does feel like that. Each chapter, there is an event going on. There is something meaningful towards the story going on. And it really helps build the background, the world building, the story, the characters, the events that are happening. There are some tragic events that happen in this. You meet a slew of characters across the board. You meet a ton of kids, a ton of adults. You meet one-time characters. You meet characters where you're like, you're you're bringing them back, right? You're this isn't, you're not already taking them away, are you? Because there is one particular one where I'm a little upset that they are currently gone. But seeing as how the final events played out, I'm like, I think they're gonna find a way to bring that character back into play. Like I feel it. I feel that they have found a way to bring that character back into play, and I'm kind of looking forward to that to see if my assumption is correct. So, one of the big kind of vibes that you get from this book is X-Men. You get X-Men vibes, just due to the fact of like the kind of powers that these kids have, like smoke magic, healing magic, this all great mighty magic. Another kid can create flesh creatures. That's fun. You know, so it's got those X-Men vibes, and then when you find out there's an institution that is trying to gather these kids up and put them all together so that they can be taught and taken care of, and then, you know, knowing that they're kind of like shunned in the outside world, they're kind of kept like a secret. It's got those X-Men vibes, and then you throw on top of it the Gothic vibes, the Gothic Victorian era vibes, and you're just kind of like, this whole book is this weird, dark, kind of interesting, vibey thing, if that makes sense. So the little boy Marlowe, I feel like when you read the book, he's one of those kid characters that you just fall in love with. He's 6, he's young, he's going through a lot, but there's something about him that just makes you just hope for the best for this child. And the things that he finds out about his past, where he comes from, what certain people intend to do with him, like it makes you want to grab him, hold him, cuddle him, and protect him for the rest of his days. And the same goes for Charlie. Charlie really kind of like weasels his way into your heart, and you're just kind of like, Charlie. Oh. He is 16, I believe. And you see the hardships that Charlie goes through compared to some of the other kids, because Charlie is of a specific race that does play into like his character, so I don't really want to give it away. It plays into his personality and some of the decisions and such that he makes because of how he's been treated. So one of the other elements that I do enjoy with it is, while there isn't a ton of action scenes in this, the action scenes you do get are phenomenal. They are phenomenal. They're splattered throughout the entire book. That there is one particular scene that takes place on a train that it was good stuff. It was good stuff. And it's where a particular character, who is the one who I'm like, you're taking them away? This character is awesome. Why are you taking them away? That I think is coming back, that I have a hunch is coming back, just in a different manner. But the fight scene in that one was insane. It was crazy. You really never know what you're gonna get next. The other aspect that I really liked involved who is the villain, because this is one of those books where the person who like you're kind of like led to believe is a villain, are they a villain? Like, it starts making you question that. Like, it makes you question, is this person really the bad guy? Because then when you start learning who your good character is, you're kind of like, are they good? Because I'm getting not. I'm getting the opposite from you. And you end up thinking that about both these characters. Like, both of them at the same time, you're just kind of like, are they bad or are they good? Are they good or are they bad? Wait, I can agree with this outlook, but I don't agree with that response. I agree with that, but I also don't agree with that response. And I really kind of I like that kind of approach to writing characters. I like when you can't really tell if the person who's supposed to be bad is actually bad, and the person who's supposed to be good is actually good. And then as it starts to devolve more and more and more into these characters' backgrounds, you're just kind of like, wait a second. They are bad. No, yet, no, yes. And the same goes for the person who you think is supposed to be the good guy. You're like, oh, they are good. Oh, no, they're not. They are. No. Yeah. I think the idea of a gray character is done really well in this book between these two different characters. And I really, really enjoy that aspect. I also really like how the bad character, how we were given their backstory, which plays very heavily into you thinking, wait, are they bad? Are they? Because I don't think so. And and I really think that the way that the author went from the present to the past to back to the present really worked really well. The flow just felt good and natural, and it helped really build out the rest of the world. And I like the fact that they didn't make you wait to get the backstory of particular characters, because a lot of times some books will, you know, they'll make you wait like till book 2 or 3 or something to figure out why a character is acting in a specific manner and why they are doing the things they're doing. And in this one, you know, the author was like, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys now. And I'm like, okay, like, let's do it. And they really like dove into it, because the book is split up into sections. I think there's 4 or 5 sections of the book is split up into, and one of those whole sections it's devoted to the background of a particular character. And I really appreciated that, because I felt it helped really bring the character more to life than being what you're initially introduced to. All the side characters stand out in different ways. Mr. Colton is from this book. He is one of those side characters that I just, when you first meet him, you're kind of like, okay, and then towards like the end, you're like, you're a good man, Mr. Colton. I like you. At least for me, that was how I felt about him. Also, the same goes for Alice. She was one of those. Alice is one of those characters where, like I've said before, I struggle with liking female characters in books. They always just feel way too unrealistic for me and over the top. Alice feels natural. She feels like a woman who has been thrown into a world that she absolutely does not understand, but she is trying her hardest. She is trying her hardest to understand this world, figure it out, determine if she even wants to be a part of it anymore. But also you see her struggle with being like, these are children. These are children. Somebody needs to be there for these guys. And I really love that. I loved seeing the relationship that blossomed between her and Marlowe. Just so beautiful. Just the care and the love that appeared between the two of them. And even when she met Charlie fell into that too with her. And you see it when they get split up and they get brought back together. You really get to see how much these boys mean to her. And I really like that. And I also feel like the epilogue gives you more of that. So, like I said, if you listen to the audiobook and you don't get the epilogue, you're missing out on another piece of like the character building that goes between Alice, Charlie, and Marlowe. And you also see a bit more of Charlie too. Like Charlie kind of takes a bigger step in that epilogue too. Overall, it hits a lot of like great little creepy dark themes with like the magic and everything. Is some of the revelations that happen throughout it, I'm like, ooh boy, what did you just say? What did you just say? I was left shocked. I was like, oh my god. And I think if the book had been at a faster pace, I feel like it would have actually hindered the storytelling, in my personal opinion. Now, like I said, a lot of people have that problem with it being so slow. Because it was slow, it is only getting 4 stars completely out of me, because there was, I think, 2 chapters in total that I didn't really care for, and that's just because it took place in the institute at the school where the kids are. I hate school settings. They're not my jam. So I did kind of like it was a low point for me in the book, but I kept going because I was very invested in Marlowe's story. But overall, I really feel like the pacing actually helped it, because it really helped immerse you in the world. And I feel like you have to have like the patience for it, and you have to go into that mindset of knowing that it's going to be a slower read. But I do feel like it helps build the atmosphere. It's dark, it's full of magic, it's full of twists and turns and revelations that are just kind of leave you going, He is who? He did what? Why did he? No, you're lying. Like, those are the kind of thoughts that were going through my head while I was listening to this story. Like, I just kept being like someone was just standing there just like slapping me with like revelations that were just like, oh my god, oh my god. You know, and I think that made the book more enjoyable because it wasn't predictable. Because at one point, like, I thought I had something figured out. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong, and I'm glad that I was, because that like, if I was right, I kind of would have been mad, because where's the fun in that? So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Keep in mind it's a slower story, but I definitely feel like it's totally worth it. I don't feel as if any part of this was overly drawn out, overly extended on. I feel like each scene was given the proper amount of time that it needed to have to pull you and immerse you into the world and really make you follow and yearn to know what was going on with these kids. Like I said, if a slow pace is rough for you, pick up the audiobook. It will help. It makes it more engaging. Yeah, overall, 4 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I am excited for the next book, which comes out in 2024. You know, but it's one of those books where, like, it sticks with me. I told my friend about it as I was reading it, and she was like, I want to know more about that character. And I'm like, I got you. I'll keep you updated. So, you know, when it was over, she was like, when's the next one? And I'm like, 2024. Like, I got you. Don't worry. I will keep you updated. So it's definitely worth checking out and giving some attention to. Like I said, put yourself in the mindset and you'll be good to go if it doesn't work out for you. No, you know, not every book is for everybody. So there you go. That is my review for Ordinary Monsters. I kept it as spoiler free as I could. I don't think I gave anything away. So hopefully this encouraged you or inspired you, or even just maybe got your attention just a little bit and made you go, is it worth checking out? Because I definitely think it is. So yeah. If you guys enjoyed that, if you have read it, dude, like, comment, let me know what you thought about it. I would love to talk to other people who have read this. I've only talked to one other person, and she had the same vibes as me with the whole X-Men gothic thing, like, so I would, if you read it, I would love to hear it. If it sounds interesting, let me know that as well. So like, subscribe, comment, all of those great things, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.